You guys know this song. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in His wonderful face. And the things of earth will grow strangely in the light of His glory and grace. Let's sing that one more time. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in His wonderful face. Full in His wonderful face. And the things of earth will grow strangely dim. And the things of earth will grow strangely in the light of His glory and grace. If you haven't yet, someone at each table, if there's a table leader there, that's great. Go ahead and fill up, go ahead and pour some juice. Make sure everybody has a cup of the juice. Just take a little bit of time here. We have a little bit of time. We'll just pray and break bread briefly. Give you guys some time to talk before we bring the kids back in. Let's just take some time to focus, to remember why we're here, to set aside a moment. Jesus said that there was a way that He wanted us to remember Him. There was something He wanted us to do. And every time we did it, we were to think of Him. Now, when He said this to the apostles, they were doing something they did regularly. They were eating together, and they were celebrating the Passover. And He said, every time you do this, every time you celebrate the Passover, maybe. Every time you sit down together to eat, possibly. It became something that the church learned to do on a regular basis, this having communion. We don't know how often, and we know that it probably happened largely in small groups and in homes. But we're going to take some time to do it this morning here in our own small groups on our tables. Everybody take a cup and remember what Jesus said as you think about it. Jesus said, as often as you drink this, remember my blood, which was shed for you for the forgiveness of sins. This is your opportunity to enter into the rest of God. If you are a believer and you know that, you've received the Lord, but you are struggling and striving to look holy, to be right, to get your life to work out the way it should, this is an opportunity right now to say to God, I don't know what it means and I don't know how it works, but I want to accept your blood as making me holy. I want to accept your blood as having cleansed me, as freeing me from sin and doubt and despair, as freeing me from the need to look good and from holiness. Jesus said, as you take this, remember my blood which was shed for the forgiveness of sins. Take a moment, contemplate what that means for you. And go ahead and drink the juice. You should have some bread on your table as well. Personally, remember what form it's in. But you should be able to pass it around and tear off a piece or share a piece, however it's laid out for you there on the table. Jesus said, as often as you take this bread and you break it, and you share in fellowship with one another, remember that my body was broken for you. The rest that God calls us to, the faith and the promise, the hope that He calls us to, is given to us freely, without grudge, without resentment, without strings, without small print. But it was not freely purchased. The God of the universe lowered Himself to become a man so that He could be broken on the cross. So that He could have a relationship with you and you with Him. The effort that God calls us to enter into His rest is really not much compared to that. Take a moment. Make the intention this morning. God, I want to understand the fellowship of your suffering, that I can know the fellowship of that rest of your life. Go ahead and pass the bread. Take it. If somebody doesn't want the bread or doesn't want the juice, don't make it. Don't look askance at them. God is working at each of us where we are. Let's just take just a minute or two at each of the tables. If anybody wants to lead out in prayer, feel free to do so. If you want to pray silently, feel free to do that. Again, no pressure upon anybody to pray out loud at all. But if anybody wants to, we'll just give you a minute of silence or prayer at your table before we move on into some chance to process what we've seen here today.